Hello, my great and wonderful people. How una day today? I hope all of una day well. Today we get some videos for our team. We're going to be saying one quickly the review to you concerning the things going to be saying if they happen right now for inside this country, Nigeria. Just as you rightly see these people, una see these Chinese people, una see waiting that they use Nigeria, they do. I believe so now they see some videos for una table. Una not go understand this video now, although we will explain to una waiting they happen for inside this video very soon. As we will leave you to watch the full video. And so many other videos when it be say will they leave you to watch any moment from now. I bet before we go on, help us to like this video, because the more you like this video, the more YouTube they recommend them to people. We want make people like this reach the authorities them as they call their access in case they thought see they're not they aware of all these things when it be say if they happen. All right. First of all, this video going to be say with your watch now. Now video going to be say it concern the contract when it be say the award to Chinese people concerning the rail track. And for this modern days, you will see what that they use Nigerians they do manual labor. For this modern days, watch the kind of work when it be say Chinese they do for the federal government of Nigeria. This one are the federal government awarded contracts. Now in Chinese they carry out like this. Make you imagine say now Chinese they work this kind of work for their own country. Whether this nonsense will fit take place. You know they already talk and say as you take present yourself, now in outsiders they follow you. I believe say you not go understand why it be say we they talk like this. First of all, watch this very video first. We'll come back for more.
But I'm disappointed with what I have seen, because this contract was signed for 36 months and is to cover over 2,000 kilometers. So far, even Port Harcourt Aba, the project is just around 47%. Ideally, it's supposed to cover 47% of the entire 2,000 kilometers, which by now we should be around plateau or so. And yet we are still struggling to be in Aba before the end of the year. I'm not happy, not only not happy, I'm disappointed. When I came to where they are laying the rail lines, you can see they are using manual alignment to align the sleepers. At this century, during this era of technology, I felt if you are not ready for something, don't even start it. The funding was meant on 15% to be provided by the federal government, while 85% to be provided by CCECC. So far, since the project kick-started, the funding is only done with the federal government component of the 15%. So that shows how unserious the CCEC are in terms of Port Harcourt Maiduguri reconstruction and rehabilitation project. It was signed last 2 years, but the actual construction started last year. But even in a year time, if you cannot cover Port Harcourt Aba in 12 months, then how can you cover over 2,000 kilometers in 36 months?
All right, my great and wonderful people. I believe say una don't see everything by una self. We not get much to talk concerning this very issue. As we talked earlier, as you take present yourself, now so people they follow you. If you present yourself to be serious people, definitely anybody would be say he want come meet you or he want follow you do something will definitely take you serious. And if you be an unserious person, anybody, no matter how it be say it is serious, when it be say one come meet you, it will still follow you with the way when it be say you be. All right, I'll leave you to share your own opinion with us on the comment section concerning that very one, even as we take you down to this other video. You know, ever since we don't see how it be say Bola Tinibu and APC-led administration take the try by all means to silence anybody when it be say it they tried to open their own dark side of life. We don't see, even of recent time, how it be said they did try to make sure that they silence one of the member of the British Parliament when it be said in name now, George Galloway, how it be said it take cry commercial, how Tinibu boys take go as far as United Kingdom, go the threaten and say make it stay away from anything when it be say it get to do with Tinibu and APC for this very country, Nigeria. Not be only that one, we equally get our own when it be say in name now David Hundeyin, when it be say he always the expose Bola Tinibu. As they talk, he don't run come on for Nigeria, run enter Ghana to go seek refuge as an asylum seeker. As you talk now, this man don't cry out for Ghana. How he be say, I'm a Bola Tinibu and he old boys. Also, take the influence the government of Ghana to make sure say they repatriate them to Nigeria in order for them to do anything when it be say they want to do with them. I want make una listen to this cry when it be say David Hundeyin cry come outside to all Nigerians, all well-meaning Nigerians, in case anything happen to them, and all the plans when it be say I'm a Bola Tinibu and APC, they plan against a life, even as he still run enter Ghana for safety. Watch this video, we'll come back for more.
My name is David Hundeyin. I'm an investigative journalist from Nigeria, and I'm constrained to send out this public appeal to the Ghanaian government, to the Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo, the Ghanaian Minister of the Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, and to the Chair of the Ghana Refugee Board, Prof. Kenneth Atafua. I fled Nigeria in 2020, and I applied for asylum in Ghana in early 2021. In May 2022, I was granted refugee status in Ghana. Consequently, I was also issued a Ghanaian refugee travel document, a refugee passport, which I have subsequently used extensively to travel across Africa and around the world. Now, last month, when there was the ongoing back and forth between those who wanted to go to war within the ECOWAS bloc, those who wanted to go to war with the coup regime in Niger, and those who didn't, something happened. The Nigerian president, Bola Ahmed Tinibu, made a move to deploy Nigerian special forces illegally into Nigerian territory to enforce a no-fly zone, which is a euphemism for essentially staging a military attack, an unprovoked military attack against an independent sovereign nation and a friendly country to Nigeria. As was expected, most people in the Nigerian government, in the Nigerian military, and in the citizenry at large weren't at all on board with this. But Mr. Tinibu was clearly desperate to start this war with Niger, a war that nobody wanted. Subsequently, a secret document was leaked to me, a document which contained basically attack instructions and basically staging plans for this illegal invasion of Niger. And I knew that by putting this document out, I could potentially stop a catastrophic invasion, which would lead to an immense and unnecessary loss of West African life. So that's exactly what I did. Early August, I put out this document. And it had the desired effect. It did, in fact, stop the invasion. Subsequently, Mr. Tinibu then tried to seek permission from Nigeria's Senate to deploy the Nigerian military into Niger. The Senate knocked this back. And to all intents and purposes, the invasion essentially became a stillbirth, right? It didn't happen. Which, from the point of view of, I think, any right-thinking person in the ECOWAS sub-region, was definitely a good outcome, right? What definitely under no circumstances should have happened should have been a military invasion of Niger by Nigeria, leading to an outcome that no one would have been better off. Well, I could spend an hour explaining the many different ways that this would have been a terrible idea, but I'm sure most people know this just as well as I do. It would have been something that would have been catastrophic and would have benefited nobody except probably Mr. Tinibu himself. Now, after I leaked this document, I was made aware from several sources that the Nigerian military establishment and the Nigerian intelligence establishment became essentially particularly enraged with me. So I've been a person of interest for a long time, but with that I became designated as something of an enemy of state. And as my, as fortune or luck, bad luck would have it, just a month before this happened, the fact that I do travel with a Ghanaian passport, that I have a Ghanaian passport and I travel with it, had become exposed to the public through no fault of my own, following a very unfortunate event in Zimbabwe, after which the permanent secretary at the Zimbabwean Ministry of Information, probably thinking that he was scoring a point against some sort of foreign journalists, following their issues with foreign journalists, decided to tweet to a global audience the fact that I did claim asylum in Ghana and that I travel with a Ghanaian travel document. As a result of this, the Nigerian establishment knew who to speak to if they wanted to get a hold of me. They were aware that I had claimed asylum in Ghana and that I used a Ghanaian travel document. So I was informed that a Nigerian intelligence agency, I'm not sure whether it was the National Intelligence Agency or the Defense Intelligence Agency, but one of these foreign intelligence institutions dispatched a jet to Accra to basically have me illegally rendered to Nigeria. Apparently they wrote a letter to the Ghanaian government accusing me of apparently aiding terrorism by supposedly revealing the locations of soldiers, and apparently I was also guilty of treason, whatever that means. Now, it seemed as if the matter was going to end there. But more recently, I've come to find out that the Tinibu government is still trying very hard to enact some sort of illegal rendition. So the latest tactic apparently is to lean on the Ghanaian government and accuse me of having apparently sabotaged an ECOWAS mission, and in so doing, basically compromised the bloc security of the ECOWAS region, in which case Ghana, being itself an ECOWAS member, is then obligated to cancel my asylum, to revoke my refugee status, and to revoke my Ghanaian passport. The Nigerian government's hope is that in revoking my passport, whatever travel privileges or visa or residency privileges I enjoy anywhere in the world will be compromised, and as a result, it will then be more possible for them, using the various avenues that are available to obviously a nation state, to have somebody extradited or to have somebody illegally rendered. In this case, a journalist who fled the country because of his work and claimed political asylum in another country and gained full refugee status. But the Nigerian government obviously has no problem trying to flout international law in this way. Now, the reason I'm making this appeal publicly to the Ghanaian government and to the individuals I mentioned at the outset is because I'm aware that even though the Ghanaian government, as I mentioned, has a very relatively great track record when it comes to obeying international law and not behaving obnoxiously in the international space, which was why I chose to claim asylum in Ghana in the first place, I'm also aware that there's a limit to which Ghana might be able to resist the cajoling or the bullying of Nigeria, which obviously exerts a lot of influence over the Ghanaian government. So I thought it would be prudent to put this out there. I know that the Nigerian government is trying to do all of this in secret, which is why I was only able to obtain this information, through a fashion, right? This isn't information that is out there, but I'm putting it out there on purpose, hoping that it makes some kind of a difference. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that just the same way as Ghana had every opportunity to give me up in the first place. When I came asylum in Ghana, there was every opportunity to use me as a diplomatic bargaining chip with Nigeria if it wanted to. But I know that Ghana is not that kind of country. I know that the Ghanaian government historically has a lot of respect for international law. The Ghanaian government historically has a very strong Pan-Africanist outlook, and the Ghanaian government generally tends to lend itself to being a safe haven for people who are fleeing political persecution from wherever they are in West Africa, in Africa, and in the world at large. There's a very good reason why even during my time in the safe house in Accra, there were quite a number of journalists and whistleblowers who were in similar situations, who were also spending time in Accra. They weren't even just from West Africa or even from Africa. There were people from Europe there as well. That's the kind of stellar reputation that Ghana has when it comes to being a safe haven and an oasis of stability in what is generally still a very unstable area. So I want to urge the Ghanaian president, President Nana Akufo-Addo, the Ghanaian Interior Minister, the chairman of the Ghana Refugee Board, the Ghanaian Immigration Services, all of whom are apparently being linked on by the Nigerian government, to consider not only obviously the fact that I have been obviously granted full refugee status in Ghana, and the Nigerian government is trying to make Ghana blood guilty, right? The Nigerian government is trying to get Ghana to break international law so as to find a way to have me return to Nigeria. And the entire purpose of having me return to Nigeria is to even a personal score, because the person who is apparently the president of Nigeria now, as I'm sure everyone is aware, has a personal bone to pick with me, because I am the journalist who is responsible for essentially destroying whatever false reputation he was trying to build in the international space. I am the journalist who revealed that Bola Ahmed Tinibu is a drug trafficker and is a certificate forger, both of which are about to have a significant impact on his continued stay in office. This is an attempt to settle a grudge, using a sovereign country, which is Ghana, as a sort of blunt force tool to get at one individual. This is the exact kind of behavior that the Nigerian state was renowned for during the 80s and the 90s under the military era. And at that time, some of these very people who are in power now, including the supposed president in power right now, did actually find some sort of refuge, safe refuge and haven in Ghana. Right? And I'm sure the Ghanaian intelligence agencies, the Ghanaian security services, the Ghanaian immigration services obviously have records of all of these. Ghana has a long and storied relationship with Nigeria in so many ways, specifically when it comes to serving as a safe haven for people fleeing political persecution in Nigeria. Without the support and hospitality of Ghana and of the Ghanaian government, a lot of the work I've been able to accomplish over the past few years could never have been done. I might not even be alive. Right? The Ghanaian government has been nothing but honorable in its dealings. So I want to urge the Ghanaian president to resist the temptation to allow an illegitimate Nigerian president to push Ghana into breaking international law. I obviously don't need to mention that there's a law called the Law of Refoulement, which forbids the illegal repatriation of political refugees back to the country that they fled from, where they are going to face, persecution. It's very well known that if for whatever reason I were to be returned to Nigeria, I would not survive it. This is not a secret. So I'm putting this appeal out there publicly. I wasn't going to do this initially, but seeing as it doesn't look like there are that many options left, and the fact of my use of a Ghanaian passport and my permanent residency in Ghana is going to be used, or is the Nigerian government is trying to weaponize that, and Ghana, for all its best efforts, for all its best intentions, might not be able to resist the bullying of the Nigerian government. I'm constrained to put this message out in the public domain, at the very least for record purposes. So if anything were to happen to me, I hope it doesn't happen, but if something were to happen to me, everyone should know who is responsible for it and under what circumstances these things happened. The Ghanaian government, as I said, has been nothing but good to me. The Ghanaian government has behaved excellently, historically and presently. I hope that continues. I hope it's able to resist the tactics of the Nigerian intelligence agencies, the NIA, the DIA, the DSS, all which are parts of the erstwhile the infamous NSO security organization, which used to carry out this exact sort of illegal international activity back in the 80s, because apparently that's the era that we've gone back to now. But in the event that it does, in the event that the Ghanaian government isn't able to hold Nigeria off, and my Ghanaian passport is revoked, my Ghanaian permanent residency is revoked, I'm also appealing to international institutions that may be watching this to lean on whoever can be leaned on to see that this reaches some sort of resolution. And in the event that there is no resolution and I end up becoming a journalist who ends up dead because I did my job, well, I want everyone to know who was responsible. So that's why I'm putting out this appeal. I hope the Ghanaian government does the right thing. I have faith in them. They've always done the right thing more often than not. There are so many more people like myself who have found a safe refuge and a home in Ghana. I think it would be a very sad thing if that reputation that this country has built for itself should be damaged because of an illegitimate president in Nigeria who is essentially trying to personalize the apparatus of state and use it to pursue his personal vendetta around the world.
All right, my great and wonderful people. I believe say all of you don't see the dirty games when it be say Bola Tinibu and APC they play. This one are the same game when it be say Buhari and Adesina, Noreta Onoche and Lai Mohammed play for 8 years. Now Bola Tinibu and his own boys still start today. They try to shut or to intimidate anybody when they say they try to criticize them in order for them to know what they right to do. They remove their attention, their focus away from the things when it be say they fight against the desires of Nigerians to enter position when it be say they're not even qualified for. Now, for them to do what they promise Nigerians or what they fight for with their blood and with cutlass and gun, that they use their own energy, they fight Nigerians. Una see APC and Bola Tinibu. All right, now so talking concerning this matter, we'll leave you to share your own opinion with us in the comment section, even as we draw the line of this very broadcast here. The reason why basically we showcase this video, make una also know the how far when basically they chase David Hundeyin as we talk right now. All right, we'll draw the line here. We'll see you again when we see you. Remember, we love you all. Bye-bye.